You are looking at the unfortunate Mack. Hello everyone, so welcome to another diary entry of reading War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. So today is September 28th, 2024. We are currently on page 130. So we went from being in Petersburg, I think, in Russia, in high society, we're literally in a different location, right? We left Russia. It just feels like a great shift, and I wasn't ready for it. And so I had to take a step back from the book and then come back and then reread. But nevertheless, we accomplished it. So we left off at the Bolkonsky's residence. Prince Andrei and Liza had just arrived. They had dinner. They talked about the war. Andrei's dad talked about his opinions on Napoleon. We know Prince Andrei's dad to be a bit stiff and strict. We have that kind of impression on him. But here's the thing. I did say that even though he is this way, there might be a little softness to him, and we kind of see that just a tiny bit. So let's get into it. Mariah she runs to go see Andrei. I chuckled a little bit when Leo described her footsteps as heavy footsteps. Do you guys know anyone who has heavy footsteps? My daughter has heavy footsteps. I know when she's coming. And although she has tiny little feet, she walks pretty hard. Yeah, so Andrei can hear her coming, and she decides to try and get Andrei to see reason and try to get Andrei to be a little bit kinder, more understanding of his wife. And because she's so consistent and she's repetitive, Andrei can tell that, okay, how do you know that things are this way? He realizes that Liza has been opening her mouth and telling a business and discussing with her their marital issues and stuff like that. We do get a small, quick glimpse of Andrei's nervousness and whether or not he would miss Liza. I feel like, because Liza talks a lot. She's loquacious, and I can kind of see with this reading I can kind of see why he could be a bit off-putting with her. He can find her, not necessarily herself unattractive, but just her personality. So anyways, Mariah gives Andrei an icon, which is something that their grandfather wore during all his wars. He goes and he visits his father, Prince Bolkonsky, who doesn't hesitate to warn him not to shame him. Remember one thing, Prince Andrei. If you're killed, I, your old father, will be pained. He unexpectedly fell silent and suddenly went on in a shrill voice. But if I learn that you have not behaved like Nikolai Bolkonsky's son, I will be ashamed. Okay. It's hard to defend him, right? Like I said, he's in his ways, but there is a softness to him there. You just gotta chip away at the tough layers. He does cry. There's an indication that he cries when he's in the room by himself. It's a tough thing. I was feeling a little bit sad. You're going to war. Okay, you're not going to the store, you're not going abroad, you're not going to university, you are going to war. I was a little bit sad, but I couldn't compete with Liza. I found it hilarious when Prince Bolkonsky saw Liza passed out on the sofa from crying. I don't know if he shook his head, but I got the feeling that he was annoyed. One of the things that I do want to talk about, though, I want to go back a little bit. When Andrei's talking to his dad realizes that he's unhappy with his wife, but he says he can understand why. I'm also interested to see how Liza is in the country, the way that Leo positions a lot of the characters in the book. It's like, okay, I'm going to move this person in here with these people in this environment. We're going to experiment here and see how that goes. Andrei also makes a request to send a male midwife during the delivery. And then he also requests that if he has a boy, to keep him in the country, even if it means away from Liza, which is that's kind of harsh. That's pretty harsh. With Andrei's departure, we end part 1 and we move on. It's the beginning of October 1805, and the Russian troops are stationed by the fortress of Brana. So now this is where we get into a lot of war talk, and this is where I needed to take my time. Andrei is an adjutant to a commander-in-chief named Kutuzov, who is preparing the review for the new arriving infantry regiment. After a bit of confusion on what exactly was supposed to be worn for the review, their attire appears to look good except for their worn down shoes. So remember Anatoly's friend Dolokhov? Well, he makes his appearance. He is in that new arriving infantry regiment, and we can see that he's a bit bitter. He's talking real spicy to his higher-ups, and it's due to the fact that he had been demoted. But I think, I forgot who. I don't know if it was Kutuzov, but they promised him a promotion if he proves himself in the battlefield. I don't know how I feel about him. I knew he was a scrub, but like he's just doing too much. Word is spreading that the Austrians might have been defeated, but Kutuzov tries to remain hopeful that these are just rumors due to the fact that he recently received a letter from Mack's army informing them of their victory and how they were waiting on Russia to show up and show out. Turns out the rumors of the defeat of the Austrians and the surrender of the entire army at turned out to be true. With the arrival of Mack and the realization of the defeat, it makes Andrei upset, which he pretty much takes it out on his roommate Nesvitsky. His description kind of reminds me of Pierre a little bit, and Zurkov, who is a guy who plays entirely too much. But still in all, the idea of fighting brings a bit of excitement for Andrei. So Andrei has changed since leaving Russia. He seemed to be more satisfied with himself and those around him. His comrades and colleagues thought that he was either someone to admire and emulate, while others found him pompous and unpleasant. However, he had their respect and they believed him to be very promising. I didn't have my doubts that Andrei could handle the change of environment. I was actually happy for him because he was finding happiness. He was smiling more, and he didn't have to keep up with the performance of going to soirees and parties and listening to people gossip and stuff. Like, he had something to do. He had something serious. He had a sense of purpose. All right, so 2 miles from Brana at the Pavlogradsky Hussar Regiment, Nikolai Rostov serves as a junker under a squadron commander named Captain Denisov. I think he was foraging for like hay or something like that. He has a horse that he paid way too much money for. He seems to get along really well with the people in his camp, and they seem to be nice to him, and they're singing, and he's adjusted well too. In the beginning of part 2, I kind of felt myself not really interested or entertained because there was like a lot of like things that were going on as far as like the attire and new characters. When you get so comfortable with a cast of characters and then they're gone, and then you have to introduce yourself to new people. So in the beginning, it feels like a task. It's like, all right, wait, so that's the commander-in-chief? Okay, wait, hang on, that is the general? Okay, what the heck? And because I'm really not interested in like warlike talk, it was hard for me to follow at first. And so that's why I took a step back, because I'm like, well, what are we talking about? Yeah, I'm going to end this off here. I ordered another version of the book, so hopefully I won't have to worry about reading and then going down to the translation part at the bottom and it taking me out of the story. I've never really been the type to visualize fighting in fantasy books or just in any book that has fighting in it. So like I said, I'm just gonna pace myself, take my time. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys were able to enjoy yourselves. Let me know if you guys are reading this book yourselves. What do you think? Are you enjoying it? What are your thoughts? Until next time, peace.